Welcome to the NBA Coast to Coast podcast brought to you by thelines.com. Coming to you from the West Coast, Josh Lander, joined by Nate Weitzer. He's on the East Coast. And we're looking at NBA best bets here with every single team in the league playing here on Wednesday before we get to the All-Star break this weekend. I believe we have one tomorrow. We are not going to worry about that too much as far as back-to-backs go. So definitely want to make sure to subscribe to that page. We've also got another episode up with player props in that episode for you. So make sure you continue to follow along with us all season. Don't miss either of these episodes. Let's go ahead and get right into your first best bet, Nate. We did okay again in the best bets 2-2, looking to get 3-1 here. But we'll get right into it with your first look with those Knickerbockers.
Yeah, at least the ones at the top of the show smashed in terms of best bets. And once again, I pivoted off the initial instinct with the Knicks just to take them to win and did some stupid stuff. So if you hear me guys talking about my leans that I'm pivoting away from, those are locks because I will just tinker off the winner.
Hey, I appreciate your leans too, man, because it points us all in the right direction at the very least. So more picks is always better.
Yeah, and just to correct, actually, there's 5 games tomorrow. Lots of back-to-backs. Yeah, you're thinking the one-game slate next Wednesday, right, as the All-Star break ends a little bit earlier than in years past. But as far as this 15-gamer, I think Hawks +8 is a good look here if you can get it at that. I mean, Knicks on a back-to-back. We're talking about a team that is extremely thin and doesn't have OG, and therefore the rotation's even thinner. And that's a big reason why they're 2-7 ATS on a rest disadvantage, 2-5 on back-to-backs. They allow 10 more points per game than on normal one-day rests, and their defense has been atrocious anyway without OG. I mean, in particular, above the break 3 defense. But look at just like the amount of effort it took for them to beat Indy last night. I mean, Cat and Hart going about 80 minutes combined, about 55 combined field goal and free throw attempts. Just massive usage. I would be surprised if Josh Hart sat because he just doesn't miss games, but wouldn't be that surprised if Cat doesn't go. Brunson kind of had a lighter workload, so maybe they think they can try to get this one with just JB in the gang. He certainly should bounce back from just a complete no-show against Indy, but I mean, we still got Dyson Daniels if we're the Hawks to throw at Brunson and make him work. That's going to be tough, and I mean, let's talk about this Hawks team. We got to talk Mo Gay. We got to get Mo Gay on this podcast. I mean, although he hasn't really played that much, the last 5 with him in the rotation, they are 10th in defensive rating, 2nd in defensive rebound rate, 7th fewest field goals allowed at the rim, and 2nd limiting corner threes, and top 10 in mid-range defense. Opponents individually are shooting 38% against Mo Gay. And Clint Capella is also going to be in there, which unfortunately probably takes minutes away from Ogay, although the Hawks should probably just like lean into that more youthful direction with him. But Larry Nance is out. In any case, like the Hawks have some pretty good defensive personnel now, and they are in a normal rest spot. They've been good in their last 5. Now they have LeVert and Bang Bang Niang to come off the bench against what is a tired Knicks second unit. They have Trae Young at the Garden. We know how he always shows up. So I think 8 points is a lot here, given all the advantages for the Hawks in terms of rest and the situation.
Situation. That's the name of the game. Is the situation, and the Knicks are still like a little bit banged up. I mean, even with Jalen Brunson, like there's a little bit of something still going on with him hobbling around. They don't get any chance to rest, man. He just doesn't play his backups, and he probably won't again. It's not like he's going to give more time to campaign and Miles McBride necessarily or anything to that effect. And the Knicks don't have the backups to really hang with a team when they're on a back-to-back if they're going to play like this. So it's a lot of points for everything you're saying. And I have no qualms with it. I mean, the Knicks playing super well. I was sketched out that they were going to win yesterday, but I would be willing to bet that they were like, we're making sure we beat this Pacers squad. And then we'll see what happens with Atlanta today. But let me go over to an interesting one here in the West. Phoenix is in Houston. They are on the second night of a back-to-back after doing pretty well against Memphis, all things considered, but all the steam was on Phoenix yesterday as though people forgot that they aren't playing well and that Memphis is playing really well. So Memphis pulls it out, whatever. We're going in now to a well-rested Houston team taking on a disadvantaged Phoenix team for sure. Phoenix on no rest, unsurprisingly, worst team in the league, 2-8 against the spread. Not surprising with the way that they play. They are like a worse version of the Knicks in a lot of ways with a slightly deeper bench. And so I just don't trust them to be able to come with it on the second night here. 3-9 against the spread as away dogs. 10-16 against this against the spread away in general, just away from home. So like this is just not a team I trust on the road. Jump shooting squad, all the sort of the role players do way better at home, unsurprisingly again. So that's a big reason for this. Is like it's like KD, can you score 35 and can Booker get 30 and 10 assists for us to pull this thing out? I don't believe in that right now. We're once again not going to see Brad Beal until after the All-Star break. You still got a dinged up Grayson Allen, and they are relying on Tyus Jones for a lot right now, and love Tyus in a ton of ways. But once again, back to back here against Houston, and a Houston defense that is just ripe for beating Phoenix, right? So what Phoenix is going to want to do is take a lot of pretty much unassisted jump shots. Book, if he's in the assisting mode, maybe they'll get a few more, but it's a lot of one-on-one, your turn, my turn. Houston's happy to let you do that. They're just not going to let you play team ball and get easy shots against them. And that's going to tire guys out like KD and Booker. It's just like on a back-to-back against a defense that is allowing pull-up shots and is not allowing catch and shoot. So there's just really not going to be much Phoenix can do to get around if Book and KD don't combine for like 65 points. Do you really think they're good to get towards like 110, 115? I don't trust them that much. And the defense, I mean, over the last 10, it's been 23rd, which is actually better than it is on the season. They have the 26th ranked defensive rating. They've got Nick Richards down there these days with some Mason Plumlee coming in behind him. Nick Richards can't even play a full 20 minutes before he's coming off the court. He's a -8 last night before they pulled him and couldn't play him more than 16 minutes. Şengün is questionable, but it doesn't matter because Şengün isn't the guy going to the rim. They've got Tari Eason and Amin Thompson unleashed right now. They've got Cam Whitmore in the same spot. And then Jalen Green is a guy that I also would be playing over on his points. I think he's good for 25 plus tonight. The Phoenix defense, looking at them, they're going to give you everything you want off the pull-up. They give up the third most field goal attempts off the pull-up. They give up the third most makes off the pull-up. And this is Mike Budenholzer to a T, but Houston ain't trying to pass. Houston is in the bottom 10 in assist percentage for a reason. It's a lot of your turn, my turn, but it's well spaced with guys that complement each other. Fred VanVleet's not going to be out there, which I don't love always for Houston, but they've been doing just fine as of late without him. He's now missed 4 games. They've won 3 of them, and Jalen Green goes the hell off when he does that. So I do think you could even potentially take Jalen for a ladder to 30. There's not going to be any disturbance when he gets into the paint right now for this Phoenix defense, which is dead last in the last 10 in rim field goal percentage that they're allowing. And they are also allowing teams into the paint with the 4th highest frequency in the league. So you just get into the paint, decide what you want to do from there. If you're Jalen Green, do you want to dime? Probably not. You're Jalen Green. You're probably going to finish, but you're going to have Amin and Tari Eason flying over the rim as well with nobody available to, like Royce O'Neal, great defender. If you're cemented on the ground, man ain't jumping up with you as you go up above the rim. So I just don't trust anybody to stop this offense for Houston. And on defense, Houston's going to let them get what they want, but they're going to control that game as well.
Still no Fred though, right? Papa
Sure.
Fred for the Rockets. Worry about their offense a little bit. Like you said though, Jalen Green, I think his props will be exploitable because no Fred, Amin Thompson, and Jalen Green. It's everything running through them, especially if Şengün's out. My favorite play in this game will probably be Bol props because Bol is a thing, as we were saying yesterday. Like, is that going to be a thing for the Suns? Yeah, they're gonna roll with him. They're gonna unleash him. Which run to your waiver wire in any fantasy league. He is a fantasy friendly type of player, more so than real life apparently, because tons of NBA teams keep casting him off. But I mean, if you can hit threes and block shots and put up double doubles, you're going to be good for a while here. Over in 3 straight, he went 3 for 10 in 2 straight from deep. So he's gonna be out there chucking, especially on a back to back. Let me take the Sixers -2.5, -3 now. People are also taking this because, I mean, are we really believing this Nets team is going to continue winning? They've won 5 of their last 6. They beat Houston twice, the shorthanded Houston, Charlotte twice. They beat Miami. Miami beat the Sixers. We don't care about transitive property here. We have a Sixers team that's played a far more difficult strength of schedule lately. People are looking at them kind of side-eyed to say, like, are they going to pull the plug here? Maybe. But, I mean, I think they're going to get a win here before the All-Star break. And certainly probably a little more clarity with Embiid likely sitting this game. To just be like, all right, this is the squad we've got. They were playing pretty damn well without him. They won 4 straight, right? And then they lost to Denver and Boston, which is no small shakes there. And really, defense was the issue against like these elite teams that they were playing. But now, I mean, they're playing sad ass Brooklyn, and in their last three, they've won all three. They've held Brooklyn to a 94.7 offensive rating. This is a Brooklyn team that, you know, we're talking about 12 points in a quarter against the Washington Wizards, maybe the worst defense we've seen in a long time, leading to a loss there. D'Lo only played 16 minutes in that game. Like, just who knows what the directive is in terms of like, get more young guys out there. Don't run a credible offense. Like, it's just a bunch of try hard wings. And honestly, the Sixers clearly have the best player on the court here in Maxey, who's going to bounce back from the worst game of his career, I think, like against Toronto. Just utterly atrocious from an offensive rating perspective. So I think he bounces back and the Sixers get the win.
Yeah. Fine. Yeah, I mean, the Sixers, fine. I mean, if Brooklyn wins this game, I mean, I don't know what to do with it. It's a run of just unprecedented proportions here. If they run in win a 6 out of 7, like they hit some nice spots for them for sure. Some teams that were down and missing players and blah blah blah, whatever. But yeah, no, this ain't it. And Maxey's going to be pissed, so pissed. And they are good. Have been good at limiting guys like Maxey at times. I don't care. I don't care about that with Tyrese Maxey. I think he's going to be on one in this game, to your point too. So get your Maxey looks in there. But let me close out. Just go back to the well. I don't know if you guys know, but the Pistons played the Bulls yesterday. We took the Pistons then. We going to take the Pistons again. There's going to be some adjustment. Billy Donovan is a basketball coach. He's a good basketball coach. Like, there's going to be some adjustments. But I mean, make all the adjustments you want. You just lost by 40. Like, what are you going to lose by 20 today? We still cover you. You lose by 12. Like, we have a lot of room for error here. And the matchup is still the same, man. And here's the thing. Like, a couple of the guys didn't really play very much for Detroit either. Ausar only played 22 after an insanely amazing game for Ausar. Just looking at the points in the paint alone, the man had 14 of this team's 60 points in the paint. Not quite 80 points in the paint like they had earlier, but they didn't have to do much after they built that lead up to like 25-30 before halftime hit. So not too worried about like the Chicago coming back with a vengeance in any way. I still just don't know how they're going to limit things at the rim. That's the key here is the paint, obviously. The free throws have also been really good for Detroit as well, and they definitely won that battle yesterday. You're not going to be seeing too much driving to the rim for Chicago, which wouldn't even necessarily be the way that I would think that they would be able to win against Detroit, who has been a top 10 rim protecting team. So that's why you see a ton of jump shots. The Chicago Bulls, unfortunately, are not a good 3-point shooting team anymore. And this is not a good defense to try to make 3-point shots against, as they have defended above the break super duper well. And that's why this team, when they start 0 for 20, they were 1 for 21 when Ayo Dosunmu hit the first 3 in the second quarter for the Chicago Bulls. So it's just going to, I mean, look, if the positive regression could be there, they could come right back to a like 33% shooting team from deep instead of like 17%. And I guess that would be a vast improvement. It still wouldn't get you there to cover the amount of points we're talking about here. So it's the same thing as yesterday, man. We've got a team that's dominating down low, a team that is getting dominated down low, a team that is very good in transition right now with Detroit. We've seen them just really dominate that transition over the last 10. They're up to the 9th highest frequency that they're getting out into the transition, a good amount of fast break points. Ausar, had 8 alone yesterday. You'll allow me the mistake of mixing him up with his twin, I hope. But they did win that fast break battle there, 26-14, thanks to 8 of those coming from Ausar alone as he gets out. And even, when he got on the floor, Ron Holland was actually pretty good for them as well in some of his minutes. He played 22. I don't know if we'll see that for him, but just the fact that they have the amount of weapons they have to throw at Chicago, who is, look, you have like 10, 11 guys with props available for Chicago because the books don't even know who's going to get minutes. Is it going to be Trey Jones? Are we going to see Dalen Terry? How much is Huerter going to play? It's just a disaster. So give me Detroit -6.5 all the way up to like almost double digits, to be honest.
Yeah, I don't see why, this would be any different considering where the Bulls are at from a competitive standpoint. It's not like they're going to be like, all right, we got to clap back. I mean, they just want to play their young guys as much as possible. And then they have this weird thing where Vooch is just like hanging around like, why am I still here? Totally. Detroit's actually been really good on rest disadvantage. So they're fine here on the back-to-back. They actually have the second highest cover rate behind Memphis as away favorites in only 6 opportunities. there. So yeah, I
Yeah.
think they keep the pedal down here and keep the momentum going as the break.
It's a good point. I'm not poo-pooing how good Detroit's been on the road. They've got some nice road wins at Houston. A couple other really nice road wins. They ain't scared, that's for
In the
sure.
Garden, yeah.
At the Garden, Cade
Mm-hmm.
didn't have to do anything yesterday either. He's just throwing the ball up near the rim, and guys are going to get it. So we'll see plenty more of that in this one. But that's all the time we have for you in Best Bets. Make sure you are subscribed. Check out the Player Props episode that we have up for you as well with this massive slate. And until we see you next, happy betting.